Hey folks, this is Jason Lewis, the producer of the From the Shadows podcast. I just want to remind you about our website, fromtheshadowspodcast.com. We have a Facebook page. We would appreciate it if you like and follow. Also, join our discussion group on Facebook called After the Shadows. We have a Twitter feed. Please follow us on Twitter. It can be found with @podcast_from. Follow us on Instagram at From the Shadows Podcast. We have a YouTube channel. Go to the search bar at YouTube and put From the Shadows Podcast, and please subscribe to that channel. We are also on the Odyssey Radio Network, and we can be found there at odyssey1.com. We're still on the traditional podcatchers that everybody loves to listen to us on. We get a lot of feedback, so please rate the podcast and communicate with whether you're on Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, or Google Podcasts. We're there, and we appreciate it when you leave comments for us. Well, that's all I have for you right now, folks, and thanks for being a part of the From the Shadows podcast family. So with that being said, let's get this episode started.
Hey everyone, Shanegrove here, and I want to let you guys know that my book series, From the Shadows, is available on Amazon and Amazon Kindle. There are 3 different books available. There's Volume 1, and Volume 2, Return of the Lizard Man, and then there's a special screenplay edition which includes both Volume 1 and Volume 2 in screenplay format. So if you're a big fan of Bigfoot, lizard men, conspiracy theories, the X-Files, and mysterious men in black, I urge you to go and check out these books, and if you like them, you know what? Please leave me a great review. And if you don't like them, I apologize. So anyway, check them out, and if you really want a autographed copy, message me through From the Shadows Podcast, and I'll see what I can do. Thanks. Enjoy the episode.
So Howler, I'm following your tweets here on Twitter. Seems like you're out west. What are you doing out west?
Well, I was gonna Bigfoot hunt, but I couldn't draw a tag. So
you couldn't get a tag. You couldn't get a hold.
I couldn't get a tag. Colorado raises the price so high anyway, so they're selective. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to Wyoming to get an antelope. So, yeah. So that's what I'm doing. But my son wanted to drive through Colorado to talk to some people that he went to Germany with last year, and so I took him to Wyoming via instead of going via Omaha, I went via Denver.
But so what? How's the trip been so far?
Well, it's good. You can't complain anytime you get out west. You can't complain. I apologize if I'm turning some water on here. It's the altitude's getting me, I think, and the dryness. It's so dry here. I don't know if you spend much time out here, but
I've never been out west except one trip to California right after the.
Well, you can't consider the California the West. It's like, I don't know what I mean. I could do a California episode sometime. I've been to California a dozen times, but anyway, you're just dry because the climate's dry, and then of course I've spent some time today in Leadville, and you're at 10,360 feet or some such. So I was actually doing some public service today. I had just took some pictures of the highest peak in Colorado, and I was driving down the road, and I was telling my son that my dad, his grandpa, took me to this town when I was about 11 or 12 and took me down in a gold mine. That's what they purported to be. I don't know. Back in the 80s, it was the early 80s. It could have been just a ditch or a cave in the ground, false advertising back then. You couldn't fact check anybody. That was before the internet, right? So when you had a roadside attraction, I didn't even have a freaking car seat. Think about it. We didn't wear a seatbelt. I was probably in the back of a pickup truck now that I think about it, because we had a pickup truck and there was 5 or 6 of us. So
as long as you weren't sitting on the edge, you were fine.
Well, we had a camper topper. It's kind of a long story. I don't want to divulge too much in my growing up, but my old man was a mule trader. Okay, and I don't really like to talk about my humble beginnings, but my dad swapped mules and the proper term is jackasses and jennies. Jennies are a female jack, and there's a difference. So some of your audience might not be agriculturally sound in their understandings, but a mule comes from a horse, female horse, and a male jackass. So anyway, my dad used to raise a lot of mules and bring them out west to sell them to outfitters because to pack up in the mountains. So I spent several times out here. But when we would go out here, he had a bumper hitch, like an 18-foot trailer. He had a Chevy dually, two-wheel drive regular cab, something that's alien to the Chevy truck buyer today. But back in those days, it was a regular cab, two-wheel drive, and he had to put a topper on it and put a...
I mean, you're ragging on California Chevy trucks.
No, I'm just saying, my Chevy truck, I've got a Chevy truck and a GMC truck. That tells you the level I've risen to. And both of them have 4 doors. The difference is my Chevy's a 4-door long bed and my GMC is a 4-door short bed. And the name is the only thing they share with my dad's 1977, I assure you. Okay. I don't even think his had air conditioning. And mine's got heated seats for.
Hey, remember in the old trucks, they had the vents down at the floorboard.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah. You'd pull the thing. That's right. Hey, and all the dust. Like my first truck was like it had vinyl, so you did. It's like 3 weeks worth of dust swirls around before you could see. You had to squint because you're opening the dust bowl. Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah.
So,
I remember sitting in the middle of our truck, right in front of the 8-track tape player.
Yeah. Oh, hump, so hot. Yeah. My old man didn't even have an 8-track. He didn't have, I'll tell you how tight he was. He bought a pickup brand new in 1988 because I took it to prom, his brand new pickup. And he bought a 2-wheel drive Ford F-250 with a 6-cylinder 5-speed and no air conditioning. The only option it had was the AM/FM radio. And that was in 1988 when you could have got a nice truck. But that's how cheap he was.
And an AM/FM radio was the option?
That was the only option the truck came with. I mean,
get it without it?
There used to be, you remember in the Sunday paper, you remember in the Sunday paper in the back there used to be, of course, you're in a big city, so you pick out the paper from Cleveland or Columbus or something, and you got all these car dealers, right? And they had a full-page ad that you could get a brand-new truck for $11,685, whatever it was. And that they might have one on the lot, right? And that's just to get you in there so they can upsell you. Right. So my old man goes in there, I want this truck right here, this $11,672. Well, we don't have one. So he says, well, you're false advertisement. Well, they looked around, they found one. And it was a plain Jane F-250 6-cylinder 5-speed. And it's actually, I was telling, me and my brother were talking about it, or maybe my son or something. It was actually a pretty darn good truck. You know what I mean? Somebody is probably still driving it to this day because there was nothing to go wrong with it, right? There was absolutely nothing to go wrong with it. So back to the where we were going with it, where I was going with the story, he had to put a topper when he would go on these mule trading deals. He would put a topper on this blue Chevy truck, and he'd function a piece of plywood and some 2x4s there, so he could put some tools underneath it and have a mattress, air mattress for me and my brothers to just lay back there in the heat.
Oh my goodness.
To ride, you know what I mean? If we'd have rolled over or wrecked or whatever, I mean, we'd just been flung out, you know?
Yeah.
You've probably been the only ones that lived because you got thrown.
We got thrown away from the wreck. I don't know. Yeah, it segues into something I was in. I know this is completely off topic, but since I had writer's block or talker's block.
Well, we don't have a topic. I mean, do we ever really have a topic?
I was telling somebody the day, and it was maybe, I don't remember who it was because I just ramble. I talk to so few people, when somebody will finally listen to me, I ramble on. So maybe it was somebody at the Quick Shop or McDonald's drive-thru or whatever. But the reason why we have so many stupid people these days, I can tell you, car seats, mandatory seatbelt laws, 911, that has enabled all these stupid people to live. right?
Okay.
Which is why we have hordes of dumb people existing in this world walking around, because really the 80s was the last decade
You could really get stupid people.
You could really die for being
get
stupid.
Them off the book.
Right? Yeah, you couldn't.
Yeah.
There was no cell phone, so if you were stupid enough to get out in the cold, wreck your car, whatever you're doing, 911 really wasn't out yet. People didn't have cell phones yet. People didn't, seatbelts weren't mandatory till about 86, 87 when NHTSA. So,
and the proof of that is the reason that, because we do have cell phones today, and people take so much video of stupid people, so we know that there's plenty of stupid people running around. Now, of course, none of those stupid people are listening to our podcast. We only have the highest.
We don't allow stupid people to listen to this podcast. We have a stupid block on it.
Yeah, we have a stupid block.
So that's right.
So if you're listening, consider yourself one of the elite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whether you video somebody or not, I don't know. Yeah. That whole Twitter thing. I'm on Twitter, not as a participant, but as a viewer, more than I should be. Now, half the people I follow are in other countries, Europe especially. The things that they care about over there are completely different than the things we care about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's got a little twist to it more than, I don't know. I just kind of like it. Maybe in my sixth sense of humor. What?
Well, listen, I every time I get a notification on my phone and I see it's you tweeting at somebody, I always have to stop and look, because you have some smart aleck comment to somebody.
But some people don't like it, though. But, there's a guy I follow in Texas, and I don't know nothing about him, right? I absolutely know almost zero about him. He's a gun guy, and I'm sort of a reformed gun guy. So, anyway, he put this tweet out the other day, and I'm you guys know, because I guess he was pig hunting or wild hog hunting or whatever they do down there, and he puts this thing, and he's got tens of thousands of followers, and I don't understand that, because how do you get tens of thousands of followers when you're just a dude that tweets dumb stuff 100 times a day, right?
Because you've already touched base, because
100 times a day. So those are
the people that had to wear seatbelts.
And he used to. Sometimes he would say something. If I commented back or whatever, he would reach back out to me or whatever. So we had sort of I don't want to use the term relationship, but we certainly had a rapport. Until the other day, he reported. He's got this timeline where he's in the. I'm going down to whatever Texas, and I'm doing this and doing that, and it's all reverting around his hog hunt. So finally, he's tweeting from the bush. I'm in the bushes. It's hot, and the hogs are surrounding me, grunting or something like that. Or I can hear them grunting. But it was the highlight of it. It was hot. He was in the brush, surrounded by hogs that were grunting. And I replied. And people would reply back or whatever. I replied back, it sounds like a bar I used to go to in college. Be careful.
And you know what? Thank God the judge isn't on here tonight, because that's exactly like a bar he used to go to, too.
So, nothing. Boom. Nothing. I'm dead to him now.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Midweek Howl. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness, or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.